So yeah, what time was it last night that earthquake hit? Was it like 3:20? So 3:20 a.m. a 6.0 earthquake hits in the San Francisco Bay Area. I am awoken not really by the earthquake itself, but some person outside who started blaring their car horn and then lying in the bed for a while going, "Oh, huh. This is weird. The bed feels strange." And then Starry comes in and states, "Oh, hey, we had an earthquake." And I was like, "Oh, I guess that's what that was." Earthquakes are weird.
There's been there was the 6.0, then a bunch of small aftershocks.
Yeah, which we really only felt the 6.0. There certainly could have been aftershocks, but I couldn't notice them. Because I was laying down, it's so hard to notice them unless you're kind of paying attention. When you
just kind of bouncing in bed.
If it's a big enough one, it's
Yeah. And you said you were in here and watching the blinds sway, or?
Yeah, because these were moving and Sean was making certain that the blinds are swaying back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear the noises stuff out.
Really? See, I didn't even pick up any of that. All I had was the dude outside honking his car horn like it's some sort of, something was going on. But yeah, to people that don't encounter them, they just hear "Oh man, California, you just get earthquakes all the time." It's this is the third earthquake since I've been here 4 years that I've recalled feeling.
And most of them are smaller, so you can
Yeah, super small and.
unless you're sitting right on top of the fault line.
Yeah, and they're really not bad. It's always the big one will come one day. It's just well, it's been a while.
It's like a 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things of growing up on the East Coast where everybody grew up. I grew up absolutely terrified of tornadoes. Because tornadoes are just these we're just going to show up, wreck stuff, and leave.
You have no chance to survive.
Yeah. What's your encounter with tornadoes and stuff on your end? Since you're in Texas, I'm sure they've popped up more than a few times.
Well, I was present for the 1995 Fort Worth fourth tornado that went right through downtown, and the path of destruction was less than a mile from my house.
Sheesh.
I think it was 1995. Maybe it was 2005. I had to look it up.
10-year difference.
It was a while back.
Were you tiny or were you not as tiny?
I was a teenager.
Okay, then maybe the 2001. Who knows? Or not. Who knows?
The joke was, the people called it the tornado went right through the Bank One Tower, which was one of the big central skyscrapers in downtown Fort Worth, and people jokingly called it the Plank One Tower for a long time. But it caused a lot of issues because it was a bank building, and there was an FBI business office in there. So you had glass falling like giant guillotines from 30 floors up. Plus you had the government in there freaking out because their crap got spread all over downtown.
Whoops. For your eyes only until you get it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually looking for it.
Yeah.
Oh, so I had to split the difference. It was in 2000.
There you go. You're straight down the middle.
It was an F3.
Not bad. I remember I was around the area when there was the tornado that went straight through Atlanta, and recalled that there were the pictures of right outside of CNN Center. There was just glass broken everywhere. There's a large cylindrical, I think is the Omni, large cylindrical hotel in the center of the city that had a quarter of its windows totally blown off. And the weird thing is that those were custom made windows, so it took a year and a half for them to actually replace all the windows. But there were just for a while, just these weird patches of windows. Mother Nature is weird. it always tosses weird earthquakes, tornadoes. Been through a hurricane before.
All of these things happen because our Earth is a living being, and also it moves.
No, it's Gaia. It's the Earth Spirit.
Okay, this is how it continues its cycle. It's all part of it.
The circle of life
Oh, look,
rules
look
us
at
all.
this. He posted the picture.
Oh wow, yeah, that did kind of bust it up a little bit, did it?
Yeah. I think it's cool that you can just link images and it shows up.
I know. This place is kind of nice. Just needs a few more things.
Well, now they've completely remodeled it, and they're very expensive condos right in the heart of downtown. So
There you go. So now even more things for the next tornado to slam through.
Exactly.
Yep. Hey everyone.
Go for it.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Welcome to FU Fandom Unlimited. This is what, number 15, 14?
Yep.
Sure, 15.
15.
And it is August 24th, 2014. This is Josh /AC. There's Chef Sandy /Jeremy.
Yo.
And we're doing a hostful today. We might pull some people in, but just the two of us gonna gab about the stuff that we've done, the stuff that we've it's been a while since we've done an FU, so there's plenty of stuff at least on my plate that I can go ahead and talk about with stuff, watching movies, playing games, all that goodness. And but yeah, I think this probably will be a short show because afterwards we can
play some Vidya.
We can play some Vidya games and we can be silly. So let me see. Let me find the duck. That way I can remind myself. How have you been, sir?
Pretty good. I mean, life has gotten really crazy lately. Just don't have a lot of free time. A lot of my consumption of media has basically been, it's like when I do get to go to the gym, I can do treadmill things, do the treadmill, do elliptical, do the bike or whatever, and watch anime and or tokusatsu shows.
So you're watching anime on the treadmill? Like everyone else is watching like Fox News and catching up on like American Idol, and you're over there watching Pony Pony Poeme or no, God no.
Oh, totally. Yeah, Bible Black, Clannad. Let's just go down the list.
Osmunga Dio.
Actually, I have watched some of that on the treadmill. I have the entire series.
That's a strange. I tried to get Sabrina into it, and she was just like, "What?" It's like it's.
And this is all stuff on my phone. I'm not like watching Crunchyroll or something. Because remember when we watched Makaku City Actors at your place? That was weird.
That was interesting. But at least it's not Sword Art.
Yeah. Sword Art Online Volume 2 looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
I watched the intro episode.
I hear it's getting better, but every time I hear people talk about it, it's like, man, Sword Art is kind of crap, but everybody likes it.
Oh man, there's that weird incest stuff going on again.
It's like, wow. Actually, I know that I was listening to the Super Best Friends cast, and they were bringing up the idea of setting up a web page that is itincest.com, which allows you to put in any show, and it will inform you if it is.
That's great.
Because it happens so, like, why does it happen so much in Japanese media?
I don't know.
Oh, senpai. It's like, did they not get the memo?
Yeah, well, it's like Arimo got really, really popular. And so they're like, oh, people like this being in their anime, so let's just insert it into other anime because we're terrible. And so, yeah, I mean, Sword Art Online, its whole second half is kind of a weird love story with weird incest angles in it, apparently. I've kept pretty far away from that, honestly. I mean, I watched the first episode of season 2. Seems all right.
Yeah, I haven't anything on that. I recall people just somebody left the channel. It's like I couldn't feel bad for you there. But yeah, I recalled that because there was that period of time that I was really into .hack, and it's a bad series. It's not good. But they had like the weird kind of chibi version for a while. And then there was just kind of like this weird kind of like, oh, I'm playing with my sister and but this thing, and they're so close to each other, and like, I don't know. There's that one episode where a thing puts a love potion on her, and she's all over her brother. Ooh. Hey guys, what's going on? So, yep. So let's talk about stuff that we've done. But first, let's run through these sponsors that we have, because there's things that is not related to family members being .hack Twilight. That's it. I think that's the little chibi version. It was not a good show. So, let's see, who's our first sponsor here? It's something you do, Sandy.
Yeah, it's just some small pony con called Nightmare Nights Dallas. You can use coupon code Bronyville10. Wow, to get your 10% off. So if you're cool with that, you're down with the ponies, and you like to go to a great convention in October 24th, 26th, you can use this coupon code and let us know which show we need to love more. Because metrics.
I know.
Or you can just save 10%.
So that's a good thing. You get points, and then we can go say, like, by the way, our coupon was like the double best.
Yep.
Just hold it in front of everybody. Like, there you go. Look how good we are. Oh, let's see. Yeah, there is a shocking number of .hack animes, unfortunately. For not a good series. There's like 10 animes. Ugh.
Yeah, and a bunch of games.
But yeah, you can go check that out, nightmarenights.net. I'll get it right this week. And go ahead and register Bronyville 10% off there. And you had your latest. Did you have any new announcements?
Yeah, we actually did have a new announcement this last week. Heather Newfer. She is one of the ladies that works on the comic, and she is the writer who did the Nightmare Rarity arc. So we'll have the Nightmare Rarity arc and Rarity, who is also Nightmare Moon.
So now we can get them together and have her speak lines from it, except unofficially.
Yes, but she's also done other stuff: Monster High, Scooby-Doo, Strawberry Shortcake. She also has written stuff for like The Simpsons, Vampire Diaries, and Hawkins. So I mean, she and Hawken, not Hawkins, Hawken, the robot shooty game. So I mean, she's a multifaceted person, obviously, and we'll have. Unsurprisingly, Nightmare Nights is going to be a very writer-heavy con. It's technically all 6 of our non-VA guests that are not community guests are writers in some form or another. They are writers who have done other things, but also write for the show. So it's like we've only announced 4 of our 8 non-community guests. So we've got some more announcements coming in the next 60 days.
So bring your fan fiction over and have it proof. No. And
tell them to educate themselves.
Excuse me, I have this story here I wish for you to read. It's about how Rarity takes a diamond dog as a best friend. Whatever. I'm sure there's worse on film fiction. All right. Let's see. My thing is AudioStratus, audiostratus.com, making a option for recording audio on the internet, getting back up to speed and working on that after a little bit of downtime. Reaching out to somebody who is helping work on the project a little while back, just so I can try and make a lightweight version to kind of prototype, looking at some of the incubators in the area. And as said, I'm going to be reaching out to my friend who hopefully will be a co-founder in this, so it's still moving forward. We're still working on it. It is audiostratus.com if you are interested in recording high definition audio across the internet, and want to help, a couple of goobers that are trying to figure out how to do it as their first little business. Go over to audiostratus.com, sign up on the email list that's there, and we'd appreciate it, and we'll keep you informed as things progress with like betas and all the other like stuff that could happen down the pipe, and be part of it early, and be informed. All right, well, Jeremy, let's do this. Let's go ahead and change it up and start with you, because I need to. I've since we've done one of these, it's been a long time since I've actually had time to really savor, to really go through everything that I've got. So, what have you been up to in these past months since we've done a show?
Oh goodness! So, well, been playing WildStar and playing Final Fantasy 14, and then watching a bunch of anime of various types. Mainly in the last couple of weeks, it's been Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is a fantastic. I prefer it to the original. You can watch it on Hulu, or you can watch it on Netflix, I believe. It is the manga following version of Full Metal Alchemist. It's another one of those series that the original series came out and they got halfway through and ran out of manga, but they had 26 more episodes to do. So, all right, we're going to just make it up as we go along. This is what happened to the original Hellsing as well. But the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is really quite... Oh, wow. Oh, Complete Collection 1. So you can actually get Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood on Blu-ray for part 1 and 2 for about $85 off Amazon right now. And the dub is actually surprisingly good. And of course, the animation is top notch. And I've actually I watched the original Full Metal Alchemist all the way through. And then I got to about episode 26 or 27 of Brotherhood, and just for whatever reason stopped. Either I couldn't get the files, or I was waiting on a release, and then stuff happened. I mean, I owned the entire series on DVD when they were doing the $25 releases for. They broke up the 64 episodes into 5 sets. So it's all fresh to me, even though the series came out a while back. I'm really quite enjoying it.
So I've had a lot of people talk, over the years. Full Metal's definitely been around at least for 10 years at this point. I feel like I've been hearing it. And it was always one of the ones of people going, "Oh man, Full Metal Alchemist is really good," but also it came from the same people that told me, "Oh man, Naruto's good," and they were liars. So what is it about what is it about it? All I really got from the first few episodes is hey, there were some brothers and one of them's in a suit and the other one blasted off his arm. What makes it so good and interesting?
So Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is sort of set in an alt universe, pre-World War II Germany. Both the two brothers have learned the process of alchemy, which is basically, in this universe, it's kind of magic. But the whole reason they're on their quest is, while as children, their mother died, and they tried to do human transmutation to try to bring her back from the dead. That doesn't work very well, and it causes one of the brothers to get vaporized, essentially, and the other one to lose his leg. And in an effort to save his brother's soul and keep him around, he sacrifices his arm to bind the soul of his brother to the suit of armor. So they're trying to figure out, the whole point of the series is them trying to figure out how to get their bodies back in one piece. And in the process, they discover ridiculously deep, complex conspiracies within the government and truth about the nature of their world, and basically find out that the dude at the top is kind of worse than Hitler, and is going to use the people of the country for nefarious purposes. So it is a rather action-packed series. There's lots of mystery, lots of different angles. And aside from episode 27 being kind of a, hey, this is the last 26 episodes and a sort of a recap, there's not a lot of wasted episodes.
All right. Let's see. I was using that time to...
And Rusty links me the image of a dog and a little girl whose name I can't remember, but she has a very bad end.
Yeah, I've gotten used to Rusty trying to hurt us during the show, so...
Yeah. The little girl in question, her father is a alchemist who specializes in making chimeras. Oh, she's not in Brotherhood? I know for a fact that they do bring up that character and the dog and what happens to her in Brotherhood, though. Because there was some divergence, as I mentioned, between Brotherhood and the original. But even if that character's arc is not in Brotherhood, they do bring her up.
Then it must have been a really bad end if people are still talking about it.
And people going, oh, spoilers.
Man, remember when that thing happened? Dude, that was messed up.
That was messed up.
It shouldn't have happened. That was bad news. All right. Well, that's probably on my list of like one of the ones that I should poke at some point. Is that one up on Crunchyroll, or is that like one that you just have to find out?
I think it's on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, I might be able to jump in and take a look at that. Let's see what else you have here. Looks like you're one of the other goobers that I know that is really getting into Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider. Condom Rider. Oh, geez. That's the wrong kind of show. Kamen Rider, yeah. I recently have kind of gotten some of that from M. He's gotten me some links to some stuff. I mean, it's never going to be localized over here, so I'm kind of like, I'm not going to feel bad if I, download it and watch it. And each of the series have their own little theme. The one I watched previously, I think it was Triple O, that was like a time travel themed one, where the whole point was like these monsters are trying to time travel and cause crap in the past to ruin the future, and the masked hero Kamen Rider has to defeat them in their rubber monster suits. And Kamen Rider W, or Kamen Rider Double, the conceit is the protagonist is a hard-boiled detective. He tries to style himself after like a 1920s private eye from America, and like he has books like The Long Kiss Goodnight. That's how his theme is, and their powers. There's two people that combine into one hero, and so they combine in different ways. So it's like a Jaeger.
I mean, it's Kamen Rider, right? There's dudes, they fight monsters, there's evil organizations. It's not great television. It can be fun, but it is, as you would expect, ultra Japanese. So, I mean, you just kind of watch it as a novelty.
Just the oddity that is. I just recall, and maybe you could explain to me. You may not be the person that needs to answer this, but I saw a GIF recently of some sort of Kamen Rider. Maybe it was a spoof or a real thing, but he used this one Kamen Rider used some sort of waifu power.
Oh, that was Akiba Ranger, I think.
So he summons forth his waifu, and her anime form merges with his suit.
Yeah, that one was actually like done as it was just a joke series.
Wow. Yeah. It was. I looked at that and I was like, whoa, holy smoke.
Yeah, that one was incredibly self-aware.
Good. That was pretty good.
And Rusty adds that with waifu power, the character must have been Vincent Tong because he steals it.
Yeah. Also hugs body pillows of his characters.
Hey, if he really likes that character, I don't blame him.
Nightmare Nights 2015, just saying.
Who knows?
Who knows? Just get him and Tara together, and then that way they could just run off.
Oh my god, that would be so. Let me take notes. Excuse me.
Just have a picture of them skipping down the hallway and just be like, just watch the rage just go across. But let's see. All right. So the next show, I admit that you've got on this list, I'm not a particularly huge fan of, but sell it to me. Why do you like Bones?
I like the kind of police procedural series. The characters aren't awful. Though, like, it is incredibly unrealistic. The thing is, we're watching back from season 1, and we've been very busy, so we haven't had a lot of time to watch it together. So we're still back in like 2005 in terms of time. And they still have 4x3 monitors and flip phones and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good show, but it's also interesting for the weird anachronistic kind of stuff. They have holograms and 3D stuff, but they don't have, proper webcams.
Oh no, Tetra, what did you do? What?
Oh goodness.
I don't even Tetra. I don't know what that is. By the way, you could always catch the video and try and understand. Tetra's drawing pictures on the show. Oh boy.
Yay, fan art.
Yeah, always good to have Tetra back. Maybe Bones, maybe it was just one of those things that I felt like kind of outlived itself, or just kind of went on too long, because I think I like the idea of a cop procedural where the people are like she's kind of weird and but nutty and really smart, and he's like this tough big kind of meathead cop guy, and they both kind of clash a lot, but then they don't, and but then there's that little bit of sexual like sexual tension, and maybe they like each other. I just think that after probably 8 seasons that they had of that, it's just like I at least the later parts or some of the stuff, it just looked like, oh, you're playing this off too much.
They do eventually hook up.
Yeah, they do.
But again, it's one of those things. I'm watching the first bits, and it's obviously where it's going to go later on. But again, it's just a show to watch. It's not like, oh man, this is awesome. This is my this is the best thing ever. Hardly.
Yeah. Sure. All right, what else we got here?
Final Fantasy 14.
Oh boy.
Running around as a cute little cat girl, chopping trees and stabbing people with lances.
So that's okay, so you're still on the online one. Gotcha. So 14.
Yeah, it's the online, the RPG. It's all right. It's got some pretty deep systems. It's it's a massively slower pace than like WildStar. Mm-hmm. But there's actually lots of players, so I can actually do stuff in that game.
So I used to play 11 a lot. There was a period of time. It was just one of those games where that was the pre-WoW era, where it was just like, by the way, you're going to be playing this game forever, and don't you dare ever try and do anything by yourself, because if you do, you die. I have some really, really fond memories of like just silly shenanigans inside of there. I also have a lot of bad memories of just like things like level down, which is the worst mechanic you could ever add to a game. Hi, I'm Mr. Game Player. I just bought a whole bunch of new armor for my level. Oh no, I died. I lost my level, and now I can't wear any of the armor I just purchased. Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thankfully, they have really modernized a lot of 14 and said, hey, all right, there's no level down nonsense. Yeah, there's durability loss on death, but it's not a big deal. There are like telegraphs for the big dangerous attacks, kind of like how they instituted in WoW, and kind of like WildStar, but not nearly as active or kinetic. Um, there's, you can do everything with a single character. Every character can be every class and every bit of crafting. So, like, if you have enough time and the inclination, you can be level 50 in every discipline and every gathering and every, class, so that you can do whatever you need to do, which is both ridiculous and really awesome. It kind of kills the altaholic, because it's like, oh, well, my guild's going to need some more white mages. Well, I guess I better level up my associated class.
Yeah, and that was one of the neat things about the original too, was you could kind of flip back to a different class, even though you were playing the same character. And I also enjoyed the fact that there were some classes that you had to do like some special things to reach. Like I always thought the Dragon Lance or whatever they were in the first game. I almost said Dragoneer, and I went nope. Where you had to hit level 35, and then you had to go on this quest to do these things, and then once you did that, your character would have the ability to play as that class up to level you'd have to start brand new, but you would have that path starting at level 35.
Yeah, in 14 you have to get up to level 15 and do the first big storyline quest in your starting country, and then you can start going around and changing your classes. So I mean, you are locked into your initial choice for a little bit, but after that you're just like, all right, well, go wild. And you can, like, the random, what they call the leave system or whatever. It's basically dailies. Mm-hmm. You get X dailies, like, charges per day, and so if you don't have time to play, you can catch up by just doing a bunch of daily quests. You do the set of 4, and you can do 4 more. I think I have 55 stored right now. I could do, if I was nuts or something, I could do 55 daily quests to really burn through a bunch of levels. And they auto give you the levels, or the quests that are the appropriate level for you.
So why this then WoW?
Because WoW is still a whole bunch of nothing, and the next X-Pack's coming out in November, and I'm just really kind of done with it.
Really?
It's like I've been playing since vanilla, and I mean, I was there for the year of Ice Crown. I was there for the year of Deathwing, and this is just like, hey, look, it's another year where there's no fresh content, and it's Garrosh. Hey, you get tired of killing that guy. And it's still not coming out till November. And the thing is, it's like they're finally going around and updating the models for the character races, but they're not updating all the armor sets.
So the armor still looks muddy, and
the armor looks like ass.
Ooh.
It is really, I mean, I tweeted about it. It's like brand new models, 10-year-old thing, 10-year-old armor textures. It just looks awful because, the character models are that much higher res. There's more to them now. So the armor textures that already were kind of bad because they were from vanilla look even worse.
I'll need to find your tweet on that, because I didn't actually. I saw you, and I was like, I saw that, and I went like, I didn't even see that much difference in the model. But let's see. Go. Yeah. But so you're not hyped for the weird timeline changing, going back to Outland, oddity, which is Draenor.
No. I'm just kind of like, I've been there and done that, and I don't like that they're putting a lot of the game story between, you have to have the books, you have to read their short stories they put out. So surprise, Garrosh, this isn't really a spoiler because if you haven't been playing the game for a year and know what happens to Garrosh, Garrosh doesn't die. Garrosh gets captured. Garrosh gets put on trial. They tell you all this in a book.
Oh, boy.
And so the trial happens in a book.
Huh.
And he escapes in the book. All right, well, what happens after you escape? Well, there's a short story that you can read on the website where the character whom you've been doing daily quests for, who it turns out to have helped the Garrosh escape, is shanked and killed by Garrosh in a short story and will not be explained in the game itself.
And Garrosh, and Rusty has a good question. Who is Garrosh? Oh, and that feels almost endemic to like some of the weird storytelling problems in WoW, where it's just like, hey, the King of Stormwind's back. Wait, we had a king?
Yeah, it's
what?
like, who?
Who?
Yeah.
That guy looks real angry. Where'd he come from? Oh, you missed all the
Oh,
past
you missed the entirety
history.
of that awful comic series that he came from.
Where he was a slave and Ogrimmar for some reason. And, oh boy. Ooh.
Yeah. The fact that they're relying a lot of storytelling being in external media does not help the game at all. And Garrosh being who was previously the leader of the entire Horde faction for like 2 expansions, turned into a giant dick and like 100% dick. You know, he breaks the maximum there and, you know, tried to genocide both the Alliance and the Pandas.
Which...
and some of his own people.
The weird thing about that is that he did such a weird heel turn. Like I'm trying to remember it was the Outland. It was the not Cataclysm, but it was
Burning Crusade.
Burning Crusade, where he first shows up and he's just like, oh, I don't know, I could. My father did some bad stuff. And it's just like, oh, don't worry, Garrosh. You're a good guy. You seem like a good guy. Like, you should... Come on. Come be with us. And it's just like 2 expansions later, he's just like, let's just kill everyone. Like, go, man.
Well, the thing is, and this is like people have justly pointed out, that the entire situation was caused because Thrall, the previous leader of the entire Horde faction, filled his head with a bunch of bullshit about how awesome his dad was without any of the, oh, by the way, your dad was also the reason your entire race was enslaved by demons. And, we're getting into some really, really deep lore bull in right now. So, I mean, I understand people are like, oh, this is going weird. I'm going to log out here. But, it's the game's story has just gotten pretty dumb.
But then it's almost like counterpoint to the entire fact that that they have this like whole big ridiculous story that goes across multiple avenues, and whenever you're actually in the game, what do? Click, 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 yes, accept, next. I need 18 bull ears. Let's go. Just like, I don't care. Keep going. What, I have to beat up pandas? Sure, why not? Next. It's just like, I need to get through these faster. So it's the weird kind of dichotomy. Like, I've given up on... Like, I got Lore Master in WoW back when it meant something. Back when it was like, you needed to find those... Like, there was literally having to go through guides and finding out of the thousands of quests I've done that there were 7 that were remaining, and I needed to go into this one particular instance to get this one particular item that I could take over to this guy who would start up a quest. Like, just the ridiculous nature of it. And I was really, really into, like, the entire thing. And then after a while, it just became... Like, it really was almost around Kata when I just was kind of like, meh. I don't... Like, everything is just the escalation of an escalation. It's like, oh, well, you thought that Illidan was bad. Ooh, Arthas. Oh, man, Arthas was bad? Whoo! Deathwing was bad. Whatever the heck's over here in this panda area is kicking everything's butt. Like, I was like, I don't... It's just getting too nuts.
Yeah. So, World of Warcraft, not a thing. There's still people that play it. I mean, they still have like 6 million players.
Yeah. I've been kind of quasi itching to give it a shot. It just every once in a while it goes like, I wouldn't mind. I kind of miss being in that world and doing stuff in it. But then I'm sure it would be one of those things where it'd be like, 2 weeks to a month until it's like, oh, okay, I kind of got my fill.
First taste is free. That's how these games work.
Mm-hmm. You know what else is going free? Here's a segue for you.
Okay.
How about that? How's things going with that WildStar game?
Ooh, yeah.
Zing.
Yeah, NCSoft.
So what happened with that?
So basically, they promised a lot of bull. They were like, oh, we're going to have monthly content stuff. We're going to have all this cool stuff. Once you hit max level, there's all this crap you can do. There was charts and stuff. And it was kind of bullshit. A lot of it.
So in what way?
All right, so my friend Tester and I, we hit 50 in the game. We hit max level and went through a couple zones. I was like, all right, we're 50. What do we got to do? I was like, all right, well, now we have to start doing the attunement for raiding. All right, well, that means we have to get to Exalted with our faction. All right, well, how do you do that? By doing the same sets of dailies for like a week. The same island every day with no variation to the quests. Oh my god.
Well, granted, that's not anything completely new. I remember doing, like, in WoW, whatever that Blood Elf area was up at the top, where you had the same kind of rotation that you had to do. But it was varied, and I kind of found it fun.
Well, in Quel'Danos, you actually had, you know, there was like 3 or 4 different sets of quests you would do each day. Some would take you back to Outland, some would take you to the Naga part of the island, some would take you to the Blood Elf, some would take you to the demon part. You know, there was variance. There was like 3 or 4 different sets that you could do. If that was the day for that thing, you got the quests for that day, but it wasn't the exact same quests from each of the 3 or 4 points on the island every day. Mm-hmm. There was with no variance. So it just really made the game. It suddenly became a really awful treadmill, and
it was the only treadmill you could go on.
Pretty much, unless you went to do some PvP, which was not a really good way to get the Elder Gem currency you needed to buy the stuff to get you started on the quest. Like, they even made it so that you had to get 150 Elder Gems, and I'm saying these with the quotation fingers, the currency. For every 75,000 XP you get in the game, you would get 1 Elder Gem. Well, you need 150. You can only get 140 a week. So they even gated you there. And so it's like gate after gate after gate after gate. I mean, I understand the raiding is really difficult, and the dungeons can be really difficult. But they made them really, really difficult to the point that if you were basically in a random group, you weren't going to be getting the good ranks. You'd be getting, you know, the You Tried award versus the extra bonus loot. It made it so that a guild was really, really required. And that was, I mean, they put it out there like that. They said as much. You know, the game does what it says on the tin. But for the vast majority of people, they get there, they hit to the top level and realize that, holy crap, I can't do crap without a good guild. And there's really not that many people in game right now. And God help you if you got to level 50 on the wrong server. You know.
No transfers, anything?
Oh, you can transfer. It's just $25, which is just kind of bullshit in a way. Because basically when the game launched, there was people complaining. Oh man, there's queues. I gotta wait to play the game. This is terrible. So they're like, all right, fine. We're gonna make more servers. And kind of like what happened with Star Wars: The Old Republic, the server populations have bottomed out. So there's like little patches of hardcore players spread across a dozen servers, and it's
a wasteland.
Awful. Yeah.
I noticed on my list recently that it's just like, oh, by the way, NCSoft, you just paid them $45 to auto renew for 3 months. And I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot.
I canceled my sub today. But I've got like 2 months of cred still, so I can play till like September if I want to.
Do you want to?
Probably not. But I didn't pay for it, so I got into the money making game pretty early on and was able to manipulate the economy enough to get the money to let other people play for my months of game time.
It was so funny because like I remember 2 weeks ago you were so happy that you got like your first. So it's got like that Eve style cred system where you could actually pay for your own game time.
Yeah.
Like through in-game efforts. I don't know. It still is of interest. I kind of like the art style. I know Sabrina doesn't. She's kind of like, it just looks like some weird, like, it looks like Ratchet and Clank slammed into World of Warcraft, and this was what came out of it. It seems interesting. I think it's just going to be what happens with it, especially with a lot of these MMOs. What happens when they go, hey, WildStar's is now free to play? Because it's coming.
That's one of the things that when it goes free to play, they'll probably do better than they were doing with a sub. That's what happened with Star Wars. Mm-hmm. They bled until they went free to play, and now they have like 1 million players. Yeah, and they're making more money than they were if they had, just a sub, because there's people that will like totally sink $30 into stuff. Mm-hmm. And their cartel coins.
I almost will admit that I purchased it. I purchased it mainly for the fact of just like, I just want to see what kind of bonus they give for the people who actually purchase the game.
Well, I bought the collector's edition.
So you got color skins and
it was a whole bunch stuff. It was a whole bunch of bull. I shouldn't have done it.
You got a hoverboard.
Ooh, and a title and 2 extremely expensive dies.
Ooh. Boy. So on my end, let's see. With what I've been doing, I've been catching up a lot on movies as of late because Sabrina and I wanted to catch Guardians of the Galaxy, but before we did that, we needed to make sure that we were caught up in the Marvel verse. So we went through. Watched Thor, watched Iron Man, watched Captain, and then finally watched Guardians. So we did a decent little run there of catching up on all the Marvel movies. Guardians is a damn fine movie. Like it is as I will say it. It is Firefly with superpowers. Like it is just jerks in space with crazy mystical magical powers added on top of it. It's a great movie. As for the other ones, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain, I think of those 3, I really enjoyed Captain. I know Sabrina said that she really enjoyed the third Iron Man movie. Out of the 3 of them, Thor was still really good. It's been a while since we've seen that one though. But yeah, caught up a lot on the Marvel stuff just so we would be up to everything that had happened by the time Guardians hit. And also caught up on the 2 Hobbit movies because she had seen it. I had not seen either of them, so we caught both of those. Whew, boy, those are some long movies.
Yeah, neither one of those really. The Hobbit movies really interested me, so I'm kind of like I'm fine with not having seen that.
They're good. They just. I wouldn't even say that they're definitely the Hobbit book is not a big book, so they obviously pad it with stuff. And I almost am watching it going like, okay, now how much of this was the Hobbit? How much of this was like the stuff, the additional notes, the stuff from Silmarillion, the stuff from then the stuff that just got made up because it just makes sense. So it was. It's good. I somehow say with a question mark. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, and I'm going to be happy to watch to catch the third one when it comes out. But it was one of those things of just watching that usual just like spectacle, and then watching Orlando Bloom walk in and go like, "I know you're trying to play." that character you used to play, but you do not look like how you did 10 years ago.
Yeah, and especially because it's supposed to be like quite a few years before the actual movies he was in.
Mm-hmm. And granted, he's an elf, so he has that weird mortality, but it's still like, you still look 10 years older than you did in the movie that's technically after this one. So, but you can't entirely own it to that. There's some neat, there's some fun stuff. You get to actually see Gandalf be a badass a few times. You know, be like, oh, hey, he actually does more stuff than fall down bridges.
He multi-classed.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Actually, my favorite character thus far in the entire movies is Radagast, which is, you know, for all intents and purposes, I think in the books and most everything is just like this character, just like, oh yeah, and there's Radagast the Brown. Like, he's another wizard, but he's just this naturey weirdo wizard who has a bird nest on the top of his head, and I'm just like, that's new, and that's kind of neat. But beyond that, you know, it's a good set of movies. It's just one of those things where it's like, hey, do you have 6 hours to burn? Here you go. Like, go for it. TV wise, Cosmos. Been watching more of that, catching up, having Neil deGrasse Tyson tell me how awesome the universe is, and everything. I mean, there's really very little I feel like I can say on that beyond the fact that it's really, really good and people should all watch it. Nothing. I recall us going through at least 3 or 4 of them at a time, and then us just falling asleep to the melodic tones of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Telling us about how atoms work and just going like, oh, this is the best. You're so smart.
Tell me magic, or tell me black science man.
You're a black science magician. You are the best. You're taking me on this magical ride in your starship of the imagination.
It really is good. I mean, I'm glad they actually remade this series, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is probably the best person for the job.
Oh yeah, he's probably the most personable, like, public figure scientist next to, like, Bill Nye. Could you imagine that series if Bill Nye was running it?
Probably.
I mean, it would still be a good series. It would still be really neat. It definitely wouldn't be like there was some points that like Bill Nye made of just like, I think it's really, really great. He's just like, though Neil definitely enjoys getting his digs on like particular groups that he doesn't like. It's like, oh, there's another dig on religion right there. Very subtle, but you know, I wouldn't even say they're digs. It's just kind of like there's points where it's just like, hey, you know, there was points where science and religion worked together. That was pretty neat. You know, yeah, it still continues to be a really good series, and I really, really want them to make more because it's good to see that stuff pushed out there. Another series that we have been watching, we're still a season and a half in, has been catching Orange is the New Black. And I originally finished season 1 going, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to watch any more of this series. It's really, really good. But I feel like I was told one thing and then received something else. As in, I heard like, oh, this is based off of a book of a real person's account of having to be in prison for a year and 3 months. I was like, oh, sweet. It's kind of going to be like a quasi documentary. Of course, they'll have to embellish it a little bit, you know, to make it probably work for TV. But it's going to be, you know, probably majority factual. It is 100% drama show. Like, it is 100%. That person ended up having a baby with that person. They got to keep it secrets, and they can't know that the baby was his, so they're gonna secretly blackmail the other person into doing stuff with her, so that way it looks like he is the one that had the baby with her, so that he doesn't get in like, it's one of these just like deep intrigue drama shows. And at first I was like, I thought I was getting something somewhat based in reality, but I guess not. But it's really good. Like, it was one of those things where season two came up, and I was just like, I don't know. And then we clicked it, and I went, oh yeah, I forgot. This is actually kind of a good series. I guess I'll keep watching. Though, I don't like the main character that much anymore. She went from being like, oh, this is like an interesting main character that has a believable story and is acting intelligent, to kind of being mostly crazy.
Yeah, that's one of those series that just didn't really interest me.
I mean, I think it's really good. It's just, for me, it was one of those things of like knowing what you're getting into. It's far more of a it's even hard to kind of come up with a parallel for it, but it's very much just your standard TV drama show of, you know, it's, I feel bad because it's almost like it's trying to come up. You know what? This is what it is. Okay. It's Walking Dead, except take all the zombies out of it and everyone is just confined in one place.
Huh.
Like, it is just that kind of interpersonal drama and people banging against each other, and like a lot of like, you moved here but don't think you can do this, and this is my stuff, and everyone having to act super big and crazy. So it's like, but I do enjoy it for the different take, the kind of the different story. Also, the best character on the story is Piper's brother. The worst character on the story is Piper's fiance. I hate him.
Or ex-fiance.
Ex-fiance, whatever. He's a pain in the ass. It's just like, I'm going to be all super famous by telling a story of what's going on in that prison, even though I have no reference. Boo, 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 boo. Like, oh, God. You're the worst. And I know at the end of the story, you two are going to get back together, even though I'm really dumb. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Yeah. But it's good. That's the thing. I'm giving all these, like, tiny negative, like, gripes against it, but then there's things like watching Red, who is played by the same individual who did Captain Janeway, and she's fantastic. Like, she really is. It's just going like, that's Janeway, but Janeway a little bit more filled out and playing off a Russian accent, and she's this believable kind of like Russian, kind of motherly, but motherly in the I'm going to control everything for you way. It's really good. So, I mean, it's, I would say, at least in my case, I was disappointed at first thinking that it was going to be serious and then it turned into a drama. If you go into it knowing that it is a drama series, I think you get off on it much better. Like, at least, you know, that I know Sabrina loves it. Wait, you gave that face. Is that a not much of a love? Is it an enjoy?
No, I like it.
Okay, so she likes it.
Hot lesbian sex.
Whoa, and yeah, if you're wanting some hot lesbian sex, it is constant.
Well, it is a...
Whew, wow, yeah. If anything, if you could just put it on pause, and every 2 or 3 episodes, it just feels like that they're their quota. Just like, hey, we haven't had 2 girls bang. We should increase that quota.
Is there like a timer that counts down? It's like this long until lesbians.
4, 3. Oh, cool! They got it early this time. No, there's a few scenes where, oh man, oh peanut butter. No, goddamn, sorry.
Shut up.
Oh.
I try not to think about that.
Oh, that scene.
That's terrible.
Ooh, okay, never mind. Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. It's on Netflix.
Yep. You all have it. You all know you have it, or you know somebody you're stealing it from. So, and games wise, I have 2 games that I've been playing recently. Both of them side scroller slashy types. I'll start with the one that I'm not as much of a fan, and then I'll go into the one that I am more of a fan. Rogue Legacy. Side-scrolling roguelike game. It's real hard. And of course, yeah, it's a roguelike, so the basis is you go inside this dungeon, you hack and slash and magic your way and try and beat all the bosses, but you're underpowered, you're going to die, but the money that you make goes back into your next heir, which is one of 3 like random types you can choose through, and then he uses the money to buy weapons or spells or to build up the estate, which opens up new abilities, and then he or she goes in, gets brutally murdered. The cycle continues over and over and over and over and over. It's real rough. Like, I feel like that's one of those games I could sit there for 16 hours and see the same corridors repeatedly. And just be like, yeah, and just be sitting there going like, well, I feel like I'm marginally better this time. Oh, wait, nope, I had a bad run. I ended up going into the room full of spikes, and now my character's dead. All right, the bad guy takes away half of my money again, and here we go, rinse, repeat. But it is a good, like, it is very much, it's very ghouls and goblins. You know, it's very, it harkens a lot back to kind of those old NES version, though better looking, but the NES version graphics, and, you know, just keeping you on your toes as a side scroller. So that is, it's a fun game. Have you had any play with that, or?
Of Dust, I haven't.
Not Dust. Rogue.
No, I don't have that one.
Rogue. Okay. Well, yeah. The second one that I've been playing is Dust: An Elysium Tale, the Murry-mc-purriest video game.
Oh yes,
it is. It is quite a Murry game. I think it's a really good game. Like, I do. Dust and Elysium Tale, made pretty much by like one guy. Of course, he sourced out all the voice acting and stuff. It's really fun. Like, it's really fun in that game once you get good enough just to spam the dust storm with the magic abilities over and over and over and just obliterate the screen. Like, it's so fun to do that. Mm-hmm. So once you get good at it, I actually found, like, whereas in most games you like min-max things to be like, no, I wanted my hits to be really good and everything. I actually found myself really spread out on this, of having about equal of everything. And they do gate that somewhat, where you can't have your lowest ability too far and your highest abilities too, you know, different. I actually found that kicking the special abilities up real high, once I found out like how potent they could be, ended up being something great, because I'd just go into a room and be like, oh crap, there's a whole bunch of these guys, and just explode everything. And you just went like, oh, okay, I'm done now. I'm good. But no, it's an interesting story. It is. The combat and the way the game plays and the way it's put together is really, really good. Like, it's a really great, a great feeling game. The only knocks I have against it is it has a predictable, well, not really a predictable story. It goes a lot of like different ways, but it's very much one of those stories that feels almost like a fan fiction of something else. Like, if that makes any sense, of just kind of like being this like story was just like, oh, and hey, there's this dude and he had this thing, and then amnesia, that's not giving away anything, and then amnesia happens. And, you know, just searching and trying to find himself and everything. But no, it's actually, and the only other thing I think I could knock it for is that the character portraits, the rest of the scenes look great. They look amazing. And then the character portraits come up and it's just like, Hi, I'm a DeviantArt character. How are you? It's like, oh, hi. What's going on there, buddy? Did you just drop off of the Sonic fan art page? That's something,
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, that's the only part that I feel is kind of weird and inconsistent, is just the character portraits as they pop up. Just kind of feel like, the backgrounds and the scene design is all great, but then you get to the character portraits and they just don't feel up to par. And it's kind of just, it just gets me in a weird way. But then the voice acting is, for the most part, pretty good. Somebody said Ellie Monty? Or Ely? I'm going to say that totally wrong, was the voice of Dust. And a lot of, I'm Dust, I kind of speak like this. But, and you have a very high-speaking, squeaky sidekick to go along with you, which kind of adds to the, like, a little bit of the weird, like, fan fiction-y feeling story as Starry makes something in the microwave. But the, it's good. It's got probably and it also and I think the last thing I can say, it's such a good game, but I think the oddity of it all is the fact that the story, it deals with something, with a storyline that feels very, very like Asian in just its acceptance of like really dark tones and like things going really bad. Like you're usually used to US storytelling of stuff where it's like, hooray, everything went okay. It's like, nope. But I say all of this just because I think that the way the game is put together and the way that it all feels when you're just going and just being like, I am decimating everything here. And you come across new character types and have to figure out how to take them down. It's really fun and solid. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Go check that out, because I think Dust and Elysium Tale, now that it's finally on Steam, when it first got released to like Xbox, I was like, nobody in the world's going to play this, and nobody did. And then it came to Steam, and I think it's gotten a lot more like attention. It's a much, much better game. But man, is it furry like hell.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that it became available, and it would ended up in like humble bundles and whatnot. So it got a lot more exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great game. It's just as I saw it when it was one of those, it's just like, this is going to the Xbox XBA. I'm like, goodbye. I know that you've had a lot of success and been working with them, but nobody on the Xbox is going to look at this and go and give it a moment's chance. Call of Duty? Nope. All right, forget it. And then, moving on. But yeah, it's a good game. I'd recommend, and it's usually not too expensive around now, and usually pops up on a sale, summer sales and stuff like that. I have to figure out what the next game's going to be, but that was a good one. I finished it late last night, so. And cool. That's mostly it. Lots of that. Probably finish up Cosmos soon, or get finished up by Cosmos. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's $15 on Steam. Has Steam Play, both Windows, Linux, and Mac support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sketchy stating they didn't know Dust was an Xbox game until it went free for 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, in total, I think my playtime on it was about 14 hours, and it's a good 14 hours. Like it's got some decent comedy to it as well. And yeah, you should check it out. Even if Tech sent me a terrible message when She saw I was playing it. She's just like, "Don't be a furry." I'll rephrase it in a way that actually doesn't sound horrific. But yeah. All right, well, let's move forward here. Let's go ahead and check this out. We got some news topics that we've pulled up here.
Yep. So this one, the first thing is it's been 30 years. So Comedy Central is teasing a 1980s crime show parody called Moonbeam City. And as things are, every 30 years, stuff comes back. 80s Neon, well, 1980 was 30 years ago. 1984 was 30 years ago. So, yeah, it's a very ultra 80s style Archer looking show. If you click a link in the show notes, it's an absurdist take on the sex-drenched crime dramas of the 1980s. So, yeah, ultra neon wave, synth music. It's kind of it doesn't surprise me as much as I've been seeing a resurgence of that, like the 80s synth style art and music that, a cartoon or a show would not be very far behind. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I like Archer. Maybe it'll be neat. I dig the 80s synth and the purple neon. So, I mean, it might be worthwhile.
Let me take a look here while I also add cool things to the document. I'm breaking stuff.
Are you ruining everything forever?
Oh, boy, don't you know me. All right, 30 years, 80s Neon is back. Cartoonbrew.tv. Whoa. Moonbeam City.
Yep, it is a thing.
I like the art style. I like the hyper 80s on it. If it's going to be funny at all remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. It's like there's a lot of hit and miss. And depending on the writers, it could be really good or it could be utter trash. But you won't know until it's out there.
Yep. All right. That seems like something neat. The style is very, very... I hope that the style takes... Because, I don't know, that could be very hit or miss. It could be somewhat inconsistent. I remember several shows that tried to establish unique art styles. Hello, that Better Hair Forever show or whatever on Cartoon Network that didn't make any goddamn sense.
Like Tom Goes to the Mayor, I think it was.
Yeah, those shows.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh god, Tom Goes to the Mayor. Holy smokes. Oh. It wasn't bad, but then again it was bad. Ooh. Yep. All right, what else we got here?
The 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons has been released. Hasbro has gotten more of my money.
Dude, had they? They succeeded again.
They succeeded again. Gosh dang it. So, yeah, the Player's Handbook and the first adventure book, Hoard of the Dragon Queen, are now out and available. So, Hasbro's taken a pretty interesting tack. I say Hasbro because they're the parent company here. Wizard of the Coast is owned by Hasbro. Hasbro, owns ponies and stuff. So, it all goes back to the same... The money's all going the same place. They've done something pretty cool with the 5th edition stuff. They basically said, all right, look, here's the 5th edition basic rules. It's a PDF. It's free. It's got some basic monsters. It's got a free adventure. It's got, it's like, here's some basic stuff so that you can play. You can make a character with most of the races. It gives you some information on backgrounds. And it tells you how to play the game in a real basic form without having to buy a thing. And then, of course, they put out the starter set, which is like $15-20, which has some character sheets and a basic adventure and some dice, and it's a little bit more in depth. And they kind of let that sit for a month, and then a month later they actually released the Player's Handbook. So the goal, I guess, I would have to think so, is like they want people to play 5th edition and then decide if they want to sink the cash into it. Because back in 4th edition, they just released all the books, the main 3, Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, and DM Guide, all at the same time. which gave you basically this massive info dump that was really kind of daunting. So this time around, they're kind of spacing it out. Hopefully people will, decide they like the game and then keep buying the books.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the player's handbook is really quite thick. It's about as thick as the previous editions, maybe actually a little bit thicker. It's 316 pages plus a couple of sheets in the back. You can photocopy some character sheets if you need them. It's got a bunch of race options. It's got tons of background information. They made it so that you can make your characters really, really, really deeply customized. Yeah, you can min-max your guys, or you can be like 3 or 4 different variants of gnome. All right, well, you want to be a gnome? All right, well, here's your base. You get ability score increase. You get an int +2. And now there's like 3 different gnome types you can pick from that change your bonuses around. And so it's like the classes all have variants, the races all have variants, and the backgrounds, affect how you play as well. So they really have made it very, very easy to customize a character and have the customization actually have an effect on the game. So, like, if your character is... All right, well, here's like a background. Here's their list of backgrounds. You can be a criminal. All right, well, you're a criminal with a history of breaking the law. You get skill proficiencies based on this. You get certain tools. You get equipment, basic equipment. You can get a criminal speciality. So then have suggested characteristics. And there's like a chart you can roll on. Personality traits, per D8 on an 8, you're just a massive dick. Entertainers, folk heroes, hermits.
So how does this differ? Because the old standard was 3.5. Considered by many to be the standard was 3.5. Then they came out with 4, which was kind of criticized by everyone as being, at least from when I toyed with it and when I played with it, got criticized for being way too much like an MMO.
That was actually really quite valid. The 4th edition was based heavily around grid-based combat and lots of combat. And hey, there's some more combat.
Oh, it was that. I remembered running that and just going like, "Hey guys, we've spent 4 hours and haven't cleared a room."
Yeah, that really didn't help when I ran 4th edition. And that game didn't last very long. The combat, it was very combat oriented, very movement oriented. You had to have grids, you had to have this, that, and the other. In previous editions, it was just sort of theater of the mind, dude. You didn't need miniatures, you didn't need nothing. You need your dice and your sheets. And grids helped and miniatures helped, but ultimately 4th made it so that it was pretty much mandatory. And for a while, Hasbro spent lots of money putting out little like blind boxes of miniatures so that there was a miniatures game associated with it, but they were wanting you to buy them so you could have monsters for your game.
Mm-hmm.
So people criticized it a lot, and so 5th edition kind of steps back closer to 3.5. They still have some of the good stuff where it's like, as a wizard, you always have access to some basic abilities. You're not like, well, I've spent all my magic for the day. I guess I'm going to sit back here with my dagger and hope nobody looks my way.
Yeah.
You can always fire off Rays of Frost or Magic Missile. I actually think it's Ray of Frost and Shocking Hands. Magic Missile is actually a spell you have to use. So, I mean, you always have access to some abilities. And, but it's not grid-based. You don't have to... There's none of this shifting people's squares nonsense that really made it into a very board gamey sort of experience.
Which I did enjoy that in 4 somewhat of like okay, you position here, you move here, you get the high ground here. Like there was some fun to it, but when it's a dungeon crawl and you're like, this is room 3 of 15, it's like, oh my god, this is gonna take forever. So that was my feeling on it. We did a 4 session. So so from what it sounds like, it's faster. It's got more. It's less combat based, but definitely more but still there.
The combat's still there, and it's kind of also, it seems to be less reliant on magic gear to make your character awesome. It's like going into the Horde of the Dragon Queen, the campaign book. There's your basics. You get your +1 gear, but in the back of the book, there is a total of 4 specific magic items that appear in this entire book. The rest of it's like, this guy has some good armor, or this guy has like a sling that's magical, but there's not an emphasis on, Beelzebub's blazing bag of marbles or whatever. It's like there's not a reliance. You have to have magical MacGuffins to make your character cool. It's focusing more on the character and less on the stuff.
You mean you didn't carry enough of the required reagent before you head out? Too bad.
Oh, God. And that's actually something that, for spellcasting, it's like, did you spend 50 gold on a reagent pouch? Yes. All right, well, then you have the reagents you need to cast your spells. Worrying about, like, do you have 3 balls of bat guano so you can cast your 3 fireballs for the day? That's nonsense. And the game's like, yeah, that's dumb. Don't do that.
That's just a way for a DM to be mean.
Now, if you're not going to have 5,000 gold worth of diamonds to stuff into the orifice and wounds of a dead person to cast resurrection, but the basic stuff, the most commonly used stuff, is going to be, just like, look, you have the stuff, cast it. You're a wizard, not an idiot.
Right. Okay. And then you said more customizable, more. Okay. I'll be interested to see what happens with that. And you said that you're going to start playing around with it some.
I would like to.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. What else do we have here in terms of things? In terms of stuff,
Guardians of the Galaxy is #1 again. Booyah! It still made more money than Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Yay! Unfortunately, Ninja Turtles still greenlit for a second one.
Ah, curse you, Michael Bay. Dancing Groot. You can get your own little Dancing Groot from Funko.
I ended up actually getting another loot crate, and it had a Groot with a glow-in-the-dark hand. So I was like, sweet.
Yes. I got one of them.
That's awesome.
Now, it doesn't actually dance. It's a little bobblehead, but It's cute and suitable for putting on a desk. I thought it was... I really like the movie. I'm glad to see it's doing really good. Marvel took a big gamble, but it turned out really well. And, I like the fact that Loot Crate gets like little exclusive things. Because, fruit.
That was really fun. It was good just seeing that. And then, of course, the Loot Crate has to immediately dash my my happiness by including a Sonic the Hedgehog car air freshener. It's just like, gotta smell fast.
Oh, yeah, I got that as well.
Oof.
And I looked in the book, and it's like, it could have been a couple of Mega Man dudes or Sonic.
Yep.
I got Sonic.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, it just like they contact us saying it's just like, hey, you got anything that we could purchase for real cheap for this Loot Crate? And be like, we got a whole bunch of these air fresheners we can't do anything with.
It's like, yeah, these were being sold at Hot Topic, but it turns out with the Sonic Mega Man crossover, people just wanted the Mega Man.
Yeah.
So have like 10,000 Sonic air fresheners.
Gotta smell fast.
Yep. And we're not ready for Freddy.
Woo! I'm not ready for Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy, it's everywhere on Tumblr, and a lot of our friends are playing it.
The only thing more popular is dumping your head with ice water.
Yeah.
Which I did, which immediately was like, all right, I'm so totally done of seeing people do this and not donate to ALS. Like, that's the worst thing about that whole thing, is a number of people going like, ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Shh, all right, done. I'm challenging other people. It's like, you missed the point.
Yeah, I mean, I did the video. I just need to upload it.
Yeah.
And post proof of donation.
Yeah, that's the Oh yeah, Tetra did an ice bucket challenge where he just dumped water on Luna.
Yeah. That's not very nice.
I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, the
Oh, jeez.
oh boy.
On the topic of Sonic and Freddy,
Oh boy.
good job, Rusty Headphones.
Good, thanks. Gotta go fast. Nothing like a super fast murder fox. But yeah, Freddy's has been a big thing. I enjoyed a lot. Our friend of the show, Emdefmek, who I wanted to be on the show so he could explain how well he 2020'd Freddy. Which he didn't. He has the best reaction video on his page of just the moment that it leaves. The moment that it leaves the place, he's like, nope, done, gone.
A 1 minute video. It's like, this is my playthrough. That's it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Just like, nope, it's not even at the door. It's not even peeking at him. It just left the original room it starts at, and he's gone. Oh.
I will find the link for people that are asking for it.
Yep. But yeah, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. I have a friend who actually a coworker, who told me, he's like, hey, so do you know much about this Five Nights at Freddy's? And I was like, yes. It's like a friend gave it to me, and I was like, oh, you're in for such a treat. Like, what I recommend is go and watch a single video of someone's playthrough so you know what to expect. And then, because even if you know what to expect, it doesn't prepare you. Because once you're in that position,
if you're in that space,
oh boy, suddenly, I think the worst part of the entire Freddy thing is it is 5 a.m. Your power goes out, and you just sit there while the song in those eyes flicker in the distance. And you don't know, will the chimes come, or will just a screaming mechanical bear jump and murder you? Like, it's pretty fantastic. So, all right, let's see, got that, and close that out. Dancing Groot. Yeah, that's the end of our news. That's cool. It looks like Starry's contributing to the show, by the way.
By telling you to buy things for her.
Yeah, so in today's show notes, which you can find over at Brony Show and BronyvillePodcast.com, Sabrina/Starry, my loving girlfriend, has created her own segment called Josh Buy Me Things.
Right? Well, it's cool stuff for
Yes,
people to buy.
it's for people to buy, named Josh. For people named Sabrina. So let's see what her Josh Buy Me Things this week was. Her first thing from all these coming from ThinkGeek, she wants an N7 hoodie, which, by the way, I do see, since I work around the EA campus, I see a good number of these. And when I went ice skating, someone totally had an N7 hoodie. I was almost like, I wonder if I go over and ask that person if they work at EA, they'll say yes.
I bet they get theirs for free.
I bet they do. I bet they do.
Lucky bastards.
Yeah, what a bunch of jerks.
I still want that.
So she wants an N7 Elite Armor stripe hoodie.
On that list, I really do want that one.
Okay. So that's what she wants. What? You want a Star Trek Bat'leth, or how you say it, Bat'leth? Letter opener.
Yeah, I could live without that one.
With a $20 letter opener.
It's really cool looking and it has a holder and everything.
She also
Sorry, please.
She wants a desktop jellyfish tank, which is kind of cool. How do the other fish live in there? It's also $400.
Because you're buying the jellyfish too.
I could just go to the.
Jellyfish are expensive,
Yeah,
man.
Trust me, I can go out to. August, so it's August. It's perfect time of year. You just go to the Gulf Coast. You just get a bucket. You get as many jellyfish as you like. And then you regret getting jellyfish.
Yes.
Ooh, boy. Growing up on South Just going like, oh, I'm in the water. Oh, wait, no, there's jellyfish everywhere. Never mind. I don't want to.
Oh, what's that? The tide's coming in. It's a shame these little guys got too close to shore because all their tentacles have been ripped off by the water, and they're wrapped around your legs.
Yep. Now every walk to the beach is a nightmare.
That's what happens when you're at. Oh shoot! What's the islands? That's South Texas, San Padre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Padre Islands.
Yeah. That and biting
South Padre.
That and biting flies is kind of like the two things at the beach that make the beach horrific.
Yeah.
Like biting flies are the worst, just because they're just like, oh, look, a person, let's eat him. And then jellyfish, just because if they haven't washed up, you just go into the water and you're just like, yeah, I'm having fun. Oh, geez. Oh, crap. What was that? Oh, God. It hurts.
Yeah. When I was like 15 or 16, we spent a couple summers camping for like a week at a time down at the Padre Island National Seashore in South Padre Island in Texas. And boy, howdy. Between the little crabs and the jellyfish, it made... Oh, and the nurse sharks. Don't forget those. That would brush by you. In the muddy brown water of the Gulf of Mexico.
So they just brush past you and just spook you. Give you the spooks.
I mean, nurse sharks aren't going to harm you. They're little bitty, but still.
The best thing is when you find a pool of tiny fish and then they eat your toes. And they're just like, wop, 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 wop. And you're just like, silly fish. That happens too in the ocean. And the last thing she has here for her Josh Buy Me Thing segment is the Solar System glow-in-the-dark panties 1 pair.
Look at the comment. You can scroll down and look at
Okay,
their
let's
description.
scroll. She wants me to read the description. Starbutt, you has it. I think that's enough. I think that's plenty.
And for some reason, nobody sent them an action shot of anybody wearing these panties.
You know what? Then that obviously is something obviously they're going to need an action shot. So if these panties get got, you'll have to supply. You know. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
If you want my naked body on the internet, sure.
Just your booty.
Oh God, I'll never hear the end of it.
Dag, son, that galaxy's got big. Whatever. All right, let's go ahead and roll this forward.
Yeah, this was going to be a short show, AC.
Yeah, totally. It's been 2 hours.
This is like the Bombcast, except we don't...
Except there's no emails.
Yeah.
You...
Jesus Christ, that's probably a small mercy.
Yeah, imagine if we had other people on the show talking. But yeah, you can... let's see. So we have no emails this week. Actually, we had an issue with the emails last week where the emails for the show got cut off because of some audio issues. I did hit the button this week, so we are good. But you can always email across to us at bronyville@gmail.com or fandomunlimited@gmail.com, I guess, even though I don't know if we actually check that email address. That would be smart of us to check sometime.
Yep.
As iTunes, I don't think we have any listings here for iTunes and stuff. If you want to go check it out, Jeremy.
No reviews, but we're like 25th on the What's Hot right
Nice. We're back in it. To win it.
We're ahead of The Walking Dead, and let's see, there's some other source, Film Riot.
How we do that is just shocking.
I don't know. But hey, the Sesame Street podcast is ahead of us.
Oh, no.
Then, of course...
Kevin Smith has run away from our segment. Obviously, too much fear.
Tested, the Adam Savage project is still number 1, is like number 2.
It's hard to beat that. That's a decent show. That's a pretty good show. Adam Savage telling you about all the stuff he's building. I like Tested.
Science.
Tested's a good site. I met Norm once at Maker Faire. I was like, "Hey Norm, good to meet you." I was like, "Oh hey." Then that was it. Encounters with internet people. Hooray! Okay, let's see. So you can always please leave us a review on iTunes if you like this show. If you don't like this show, well, you could leave it too. Just if it's a 5-star or a nice review, we'd really like that. So yeah, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and check that out. And the donations, if you are interested in donating across the show, just in case if you like the show, if you want to put your patronage across to us, you can always go across over to BronyShow.com, BronyvillePodcast.com. Go over to the right-hand side. Yeah, right-hand side. There's a donate link if you feel like we deserve just a little tip for putting on these shows for you every week. All right, let's see. One cool thing time. I've got a one cool thing this week that I'm going to bring up. And this is a very weird video from a while back that was completely awesome. And I may have included it in one of our past shows. But it is a video called Space Stallions.
Oh, yeah.
If you had to imagine one of your classic 80s super-powered space group riding horses in space made out of metal and the most crazy techno 80s synth pop of the time, you can totally do that. You can go check that out. It's awesome. It's cool. It feels like a show that could have been, but actually feels more like a Don Bluth, like weird sci-fi movie that could have been. But it's awesome. You should go check it out. It's really, really strange and really cool. So, what do you got, Sandy?
Well, my cool thing for this week is just sort of the person I'm adding to the call as a last second thing, because we're going to do post-show stuff, is Emdefmek is not ready for Freddy. It is his 1 minute Let's Play, where he wins the game by just going, nope! And there we go.
It was really
did I miss the call?
No. This is still the show. You're just on the very last moment of it.
Oh, I told you, give me an hour and I'd be ready to go.
Yeah, but we were already doing the show.
Well, you need to give me more warning than, hey.
I know.
You gotta remember, I work on the weekends, so it's you gotta give me an hour.
I didn't know that. That's fine. I mean, we were just goofing around. Emdefmek of the GCC and everything.
Yeah,
but we'll play some games after this and do some other silliness. But yeah, Sandy just gave your Freddy Let's Play as his one cool thing.
Oh yeah, that. Well, I got another Let's Play. I made it through the first night.
Did you?
Yeah. The way I managed to do it was I had 4 earplugs stuffed in my ears because you can't change the volume. I had 80s rock station playing in the background that I could barely hear. And I was holding a Princess Luna plushie and smoking a cigarette, and I still couldn't get through the first. I made it through the first night, but after the second night, at the start of the second night, I was like, okay, I can't do that.
Okay, which of the animatronics do you consider the most horrifying?
Well, this is FU, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I would have to consider Foxy to be the least scary.
Really?
Just because of the sheer amount of Rule 34 that the Tumblr community has pumped out of Foxy for some strange reason. I think that just sort of just like knowing that all of that's out there just kind of makes him more hilarious to me. I'd have to say probably the scariest one would have to be either Chica, which is like the duck, or actually Golden Freddy, because have you guys talked about Golden Freddy?
I've not even heard of Golden Freddy.
Oh, well, he goes either by the name Golden Freddy or Radical Freddy, and he's the one you don't see him in the backstage with the other animatronics or in Pirates Cove. He's actually in the backstage where you just see all the heads. He's hidden back there, and like you only see him like as you go further into the game, you'll start to hallucinate.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the flashes you'll see is of a Freddy animatronic that's golden colored with human eyes in it, human eyeballs. And they say the only way you can summon him is if you look at a certain poster in the West Hall like a certain amount of times. If you do it just right, he will get you. He just, and there's no warning. He just sort of like teleports.
So you see the poster, you see him once, and then he's there.
Well, I think it's like 3 times.
Huh.
And it's like, I think some Let's Player did it by accident. I forgot. I think it might have been Markiplier, but yeah, he doesn't move around like the other animatronics. He just teleports right there into the room with you.
Oh, I do recall that one scene where he did. Yeah, Freddy just kind of showed up all of a sudden.
Yeah, and it's he's an animatronic that's just, and with what I think he's supposed to be the one that you get stuffed into. Because I don't know if you guys seen the game over screen. If you increase the brightness on the game over screen, you'll see him sitting there, but now he has a pair of human teeth hanging out of his mouth and human eyeballs popped out.
Yeah, I saw the eyeballs.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be you because you lost and you got stuffed into a suit.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, but to be honest, because thanks to the internet, Foxy is like the least scariest one. He's also the least scariest because unless you're like completely ignoring the cameras, which if you've seen so many Let's Plays, you're not supposed to do that. You'll know he's coming, so you can kind of brace for him coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll see it. You'll see him coming, and you got enough time to just rip off your headphones.
Yeah. Sketchy's also stating that Gold Freddy will insta kill you if you put 1987 as the AI codes.
Oh, I heard that was a myth. Though he may have. I mean, I think it was a rumor, and then like Scott, the developer, said yes, it was. It didn't actually happen, and then people said, "Oh, he put it in after the patch." And it's like, no, he didn't. He Golden Freddy is really just based entirely on that poster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can check out Emdefmek's 2020 run shortly. See.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I remember when we recorded our show on, which is going to come up later this week. When we recorded, Markiplier actually put up his 420 video, and that's what they call it. When you beat the 7th night,
420s,
level 20. Yeah, it's 420. It's a 420 run through, and he put it up while we were recording, and we just ended the show because we all wanted to go watch it. And when he beat it just by like a hair's asshole, and we were like clapping because it's like he just barely beat it.
He was on track on that, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll this up. First off, let me go ahead and thank Emdefmek for coming on for just a tiny toast here. Talk about getting spooked. So
yeah. One of the best scary games to come out in the past 5 years, I'd say.
Okay, Sandykins, you are the Thunderbringer.
Count on me.
And thank you to all our friends out there in the chat right now, over at streamup.com/Bronyville-podcast. You are all in the chat. And this has been a really nice place. This has been a really cool little thing. Stream Up. I can play videos an hour before the show and have everyone watch weird videos of mobile games, of dressing up Twilight Sparkle, and makeup videos of Rainbow Dash, Equestria Girls cosplayers. So you can go check that out. All right, let me give you the lowdown. You can go over to BronyShow.com, Bronyville.com. If you are interested in the show, Bronyville@gmail.com or PhandomUnlimited@gmail.com is the email address. You can join us roughly every Saturday, noon Pacific, at streamup.com/Bronyville-podcast. Or the easier way to follow it is just go to Twitter at Bronyville, and it will announce you. So my Twitter account is at Bronyville.
And at Chef Sandy.
iTunes reviews, we do love them, and please leave us one. It keeps us up there against all the Adam Savages and the Chelsea Nateleys and all them other people that do this for professionals. And you know us.
You should just do what we did.
What was that?
The GCC. We delisted and then relisted ourselves as a gaming podcast.
Could do that, but that seems a little what we need to do is we eventually need to break FU out into its own thing and have it be its thing.
That would probably be the best bet, just because iTunes really needs to work on the whole back end of the whole podcast thing, because it's really, really janky.
It's still really disgusting. Like the entire, like if you delink a podcast and had not had the other link completely there, it's like, oh well, we can't put these two together. Like even though they're the same name and obviously the same people, and you contacted us and said, please add these two together. Too bad.
It's awful. It's awful, but that's
the biggest service for it. So, and conventions, I will be Nightmare Nights Dallas and Babs Con, as I believe Sandy shall as well.
Yep.
So you can catch us there. We will be doing things, and that'll be it. That has been Fandom Unlimited number 15. We will catch you next week, where we'll likely do horse. Horse seems about right.
Yep.
All right. So, till then, sleep well, everyone. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Yeah.
Get the button.
Stars